Cool. I'm going to set up the companion. Okay, well, welcome everyone. This is today's call. I always come up with really long titles when you want it, but still don't do it. How to work with fear and resistance through a soul-centered approach. And for those of you who don't fully know me, my name is Donna Atmani, and I am a soul-centered professional coach. I have spent the last 25 years in personal growth and development and in the transformational space, both as a leader in organizations that did that work, like Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts, Barbara Stanny's Overcoming Under Earning work. And I've both studied and worked at the University of Santa Monica, which is all about spiritual psychology. And so I have coached individuals for over 20 years. And I've had my own coaching practice for 7 of those years. And one of my missions in the world, or the biggest mission, is to help people release soul-sucking patterns and circumstances and create deeply fulfilling lives and businesses. And so I'm really happy to be here with all of you today. My mission for today is to help each of you get more free, more liberated, more empowered around the whole concept of fear and resistance, because we all deal with it. Doesn't matter if it's in our coaching practice, in our lives, whenever we want to do something new, it's natural and normal for fear and resistance to come up. And I feel like out in the world, there's a huge bias that around fear and resistance, that it's a problem, that it's something to battle, that we have inner saboteurs, like it's all set up like we have, like it's nefarious or something. And so I really want to set it up. It's like it's part of the growth process. And so how do we navigate that with ourselves as we're growing our own coaching practices or working with clients? And also, yeah, and also how could, I'm sure people come to us for coaching because they're not moving forward on things that they want. And so if this is a new tool to you, um, this could be a great thing that you could start to bring into your own coaching practice and use with clients. And I'm going to send, after the call is over, I'm going to send handouts and whatnot. And so feel free to utilize. My goal is always, first and foremost, use it for yourself, practice it, understand it, live it. But also I am like one for like, hey, let's share information. So if you want to use this with your clients, if you feel called, like this is a good tool, I feel it. I'm going to be talking about at the end some opportunities for like deepening with the tool with me and whatnot. But just know, free to use it with your clients as well. Okay. Sound good? All right. So let's go ahead. I always like to start with a grounding meditation, just a little something that'll move us out of our heads, move us into our hearts, and just make us even more available for the work to happen. So just go ahead. I just invite you to put everything down and close your eyes and allow yourself to just arrive here together. Just letting go of whatever was happening prior, letting go of whatever's happening after, and just being here in this moment. And let's go ahead and take a deep breath in and let it out. One more deep breath in and let it out. Just invite you to take a moment to arrive, asking that which is greater than us to just lift and clear anything that can be lifted and cleared for the highest good and the highest good of all concerned. Making space for new information, new ways of being, calling forth all parts of you who are open and willing and ready to go into today's session with open ears, open hearts, open minds, knowing you can take whatever works for you and let go of whatever doesn't. It's the beauty of this industry. It's like we get to try on and experience different tools, different contexts, different ways of seeing things. And so we just ask that today's session be revelatory, liberating, and transformative. For all this and so much more, we are grateful. And so it is. All right. So once again, welcome for those that are here live. Yay. So excited that you're here live and that we get to do this together. For those of you that are going to be joining us by watching the recording, I acknowledge you for taking this time for yourself. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this particular class is because it's like I have such respect and admiration for anyone who is following an inner prompting to be in the world, share your gifts and talents, and support other humans in their transformation. And I often refer to myself, well, maybe more so in the early days. I'm getting to enjoy it more, but I'd say in the beginning, I was a reluctant entrepreneur. Reluctant. It was the way that I knew I could live the way I wanted to. I would have dominion over my schedule. I got to charge what I wanted to charge. I got to go like create things very simply. I used to have a very complex job. And so when I kept listening to what my soul needed, I knew it was like, it needed to be as simple, and I needed to be in, like, again, have total control over my own little corner of the universe. So when I looked at what my gifts and talents were and what I wanted to experience, starting a coaching practice seemed to be the way in, but I did not have an easy time of it in the beginning. And I know I'm not alone in that. Running a business, running this business isn't for the faint of heart. It's who agrees with me on that? Anyone? It's not for the faint of heart. We every coach I know, no matter how successful or seasoned they are, hits fear and resistance because we're growing beings, we're evolving beings. We might have something like I went through a period of like clients were just showing up and everything was flowing, and then it wasn't. And then I was like, crap, now what do I do? But that's part of the beauty of being in a coaching practice is we get to um, we're going to grow and evolve and need to support ourselves as we're doing that. Okay. So everyone's done it, right? We've gotten stuck. We've been resistant. We've let fear take the wheel. We maybe have talked about quitting. I've definitely done that. I'd say next to motherhood, which was another big event, running this business has stretched me, cracked me open, and to be honest, at times nearly broken me because it just pressed me up against what I was learning. But that's the exciting part, actually. It's the exciting part because I want to do this. I want to be, and maybe raise your hand if you're like, I want to do this. So I want to learn skills that are going to support me in staying in the game so that when the natural fear and resistance comes up, it's okay because it's normal. So what I see out in the world and here in some coaching circles is that it's like you should just push through. You should just do it anyway. And those can be helpful. Those types of sentiments are helpful at times. There have been times where I have been able to do that. Like, I just need to like step into this and push through and I'll be fine. But there's also, in order to create a sustainable, successful, and enjoyable practice, learning how to, when we have a fear or a doubt or a resistance that keeps showing up, that keeps us frozen, that keeps us repeating old patterns or not moving the needle, we need a different skill set to work with that. We need a different way of other than pushing through. Okay. So I know that it can feel maddening when like for instance, if you want to raise your rates, you're like, I know I want to raise my rates. I feel totally clear I want to raise my rates. And then you keep finding yourself saying the old price when someone asks you what your fee is. Or you're like, I want to launch this group. I have this idea. This class, I thought about it for 2 weeks. I kept spinning and I was like, and I had to keep working with myself to be like, just put it out there. Who cares that it's last minute? Like, it's just like, just do it. Getting practiced at like working with myself in compassionate ways. Not, I just didn't sound very compassionate, but there was the piece of me that had to work with that part of me to be like, it's okay that you feel a little resistant to doing it at the last minute, but the energy's there. Let's do it. This could be really fun. This could be helpful. Let's just play. And, um, so being able to work with that inevitable stuff is important because there's nothing wrong with you when that happens. Okay. Um, Put in the chat, how do you feel about yourself when you feel resistant or stuck or say you want to do something, but then don't do it? Tell me what you're telling yourself. I want us to all normalize this. And you could think specifically if something specific's going on right now, but just like in general, how are you relating to yourself when you're not hitting goals or you're not taking the actions that you feel would be the right things to do? Amy, I get angry with myself and say mean things to myself. Who else does that? Me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because it almost doesn't make sense, right? Like, it's like, I know I want this. So why am I not doing that? And that's what we're going to cover today. It kind of brings some relief into that. Anyone else? Nancy, frustrated and ultimately give up, right? Patterns of like, right. It's like, if that's what we've known, that's what we're going to do. Stasia, I feel frustrated, then it bleeds into others' area, right? Laura, get frustrated with myself and usually tell myself that I'll have to get a crummy job that I will hate. Yeah. Who else has been there? Hi. Yep. Done that. For sure. So, given what you're seeing, like, right? It's like, doesn't it feel good to be like, okay, one, not alone. And two, this doesn't just show up in our coaching practice. This is how we relate to ourselves when we say we want to work out more and then we don't do it, or we want to like go start dating and then we don't do it. Or maybe you don't want to date, like, doesn't matter. But like, it's the same thing. It's like, so this skill set that we're going to practice today and this way of relating to and understanding more about what's actually happening is can be a game changer. So, all right. So let's see. Just let me look at my notes. Yeah, because here's the other thing that I see. Given what you all just shared, the frustration you feel, it like slows you down, stops you in your tracks, makes you think you're going to have to like quit. Like, and you all have magic and medicine to share with the world. And Lord knows when we look at the world right now, the world needs more of us, supporting people in living happier, more fulfilling lives. So we got to move out of, we don't have to do anything, but the invitation is, um, how do we, there is a kinder way. There's a more compassionate way, a way where resistance isn't your enemy and doubt is not a deal breaker and fear isn't a flaw. It's like that resistance carries information for you. Fear is a messenger and doubt is a signal. And when we can approach it from that way, we can and meet that part of us, which I'll explain in a moment. When we can meet those parts of us with more curiosity and understanding that it's there for us to work with as part of our journey, it actually gets really, instead of having to manage yourself, it's like you're clearing the way so that you can move forward, which is way easier and relieving. I remember it when I studied at the University of Santa Monica, like Ron and Mary would talk about like, if you're like ignoring it or whatever, it's like holding a beach ball underwater. It's like you can only do that for so long until it like pops out of the water and like, explodes out of the water. And so, yeah, so let's look at it from a different way. But I want you to each take a moment if you're willing to drop in the chat, where are you currently today in this moment or most recently feeling stuck, frozen, or resistant in your coaching business? Could be anything like, I keep saying I want to make more money, but I'm saying the old fees, or I'm not talking to new people. Or I say I want to earn 10,000 a month, but I keep procrastinating inviting people. I can't get the words out of my mouth. Anything. Where are you feeling stuck, frozen, unhappy, frustrated, saying you're going to do one thing and then not doing it? And I just asked, this is a sacred space, a confidential space. I mean, people will be watching the recording as well, but I want you, it's like, just honor each other's truth telling, please. Can't commit to what I want to offer and then not doing anything. Also in resistance to enrolling because I don't know what I'm offering. Right. I hear that stuff. Yeah. Stacia. I keep wanting to say Stasia. I know it sounds.
Both work. I answer to all of them.
No, I only want to call you what you like to be called,
I
Stacia.
have a friend with a Persian accent, and she has a beautiful pronunciation of my name, and she constantly wants me to correct her. I'm like, no, that's way prettier. Don't stop that.
Love it. That's sweet. But I hear you can't commit to what you want to offer. Yeah. Okay. Who else? Laura, because you're getting divorced, I need to be able to fully support myself with coaching practice, but I'm procrastinating doing things I know to grow my practice and career. Oh my gosh. That was me. I was divorced. It's like, how the heck am I going to create all the income now? Like, not only is it not coming from like one steady source, but like I'm responsible for bringing that all in. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Laura. Good one. All right. Anyone else want to share? Amy and Nancy, are you putting it in or do it? Can I keep going? Oh, you're typing. Okay. Amy, you don't. Okay. Deciding whether I even want to grow my business. The idea of marketing, sales, etc., to create a consistent, thriving practices. Yuck. Understood. Yes. I hear you and I hear what you're saying. I think many of us battle that. Like the desire to serve, but then the like business stuff comes in and we're like, ugh. Okay, we're just waiting for Amy. Then we'll move into the next section. I think being hesitant in general about starting. Yeah, I get it, Amy. Is there any like one particular concern, like I'm not going to be good at it, or I'm afraid it won't work, or I'm afraid it's okay if you don't want to go deeper, but would you be willing to be like, is it the fear of, is there any particular fear?
Yeah, I think for me, just like feeling like there's aspects of my life that I'm like struggling with, and then I don't know, I'm like, oh, would I be a great coach if I'm like struggling with these things myself?
Uh,
Help other people when I'm like struggling. I don't know.
right. Right. That's a good one too. I'm glad you got more clear about that because there's so many, there's this misunderstanding that we need to be these like perfect aspirational like beings before we could be a coach when really it's like, I got something I can help someone. I'm a little further ahead. My teachers, Ron and Mary at USM, they would, or Ron, when we were in this one class, he's like, people, we're like 2 steps ahead of you. We're not like that far down the path. Like all we need to do is be a little bit further ahead and follow that guidance. But I hear you. I totally understand what you're saying there. Thanks for being willing to share that. All right. So let's do a 50,000-foot view on what the heck is happening when we say we want something and we're not taking action on it. Okay. So it's like, what is that inner tug of war that's happening? So, from the lens of spiritual psychology, which is for those of you who haven't taken it, it's basically the art and science of conscious awakening. It's like, who we're becoming, how we're being in the world, evolving, expanding. Like it gave us the tools to like, and the understanding on like, yeah, why are things happening? So what's occurring, that inner tug of war, why it feels that way is because there's a part of you called your conditioned or your authentic self. And your authentic self is like who you are at your essence. Some would call it your inner, your soul. Some would call it like your higher self or my authentic self or my wisdom, or it's all of that, right? It's in that. So there's your authentic self that's like, I want to do something out in the world. I want us to grow and evolve. And then there's your conditioned self. And it's not just one conditioned self, but it's a part of us. Well, I'm going to describe what it is in a little bit. So anytime we choose to create something new in physical world reality, whether that's start a coaching practice, enroll a client, pick an offer, make money, like anything like that. If we're creating something new or we're trying to stop an old unhealthy habit, undervaluing our services, what would be people pleasing, going silent rather than speaking up, hiding, or, kind of going into your turtle shell when you feel overwhelmed. Like anytime that's happening in, so you it's like when that happens, we can totally anticipate that if we are trying to make a change, that the old thoughts and beliefs that are in between you and the new direction you want to go in are going to come up. And with those thoughts and beliefs, then comes the emotional patterns that are associated with those beliefs that come up in reaction to that. So it is as countable as being like, I'm going to get in my car, and if I turn the key, the ignition's going to like well, for the most part, your car is going to turn on. I'm aware that might not happen depending on your car, but it's like countable. It's like, and I think many of us, there's like this belief of like, well, I feel really strong. I feel really good. I feel really committed because you're connecting with your authentic self. But then you're going to have these conditioned parts that are actually coming up so that you can work with them and be with them and give them what they need, which I'll describe to you in a minute what I mean by that. When you do that, all of a sudden, it's like all of a sudden, as that part gets its needs met, as it's no longer running the show or running rampant or being shoved in the closet or ignored or, swept under the carpet to be dealt with later, it'll start to get its needs met, which means needs. It might need, that part of you might need reassurance. It might need encouragement. It might need a place. Like I was someone who never, I was so busy taking care of everyone else that I never would show someone that I was feeling scared or anxious or worried. I was too busy reassuring everyone. But sometimes I would just need a space. Now I'm recognizing sometimes I just need a space to be heard, to be like, don't try to fix me. Don't try to reassure me. Just let me cry and feel scared and you be there with me. Right. So sometimes that part needs to feel safe, needs to be witnessed. There's so many different ways that you like that part will tell you what it needs. Okay. But if we don't meet our needs and we just keep pushing through and we just keep ignoring it, that part's going to do what? Just keep showing up, keep showing up, keep showing up until we work with it. So it's not about just understanding, oh, I have a part of me that's upset. That's what's happening. That's step one. Then it's like, what does that part of me need that it didn't get at an earlier stage of life that it's needing now so that I can keep moving forward in my own evolution? So I can go start that coaching practice. So I can settle down enough to create, like pick the offering that I want to create so that I can decide really, am I, as you're listening to yourself, is this a business that I really feel called to do? Or do I just want to see one or two clients and not try to build my life around a practice? Like all of it is a doorway in versus a blocked wall. It's a doorway into your becoming more of the person that you're being asked to be, which is why you're even being asked to create a coaching practice, why you're even being drawn to that. It's like, because it's like who you're being guided to become. Does that all make sense? Does anybody have any questions about that? No? Okay, cool. So here's the good news. And again, for those of you who've gone to USM, you know this, but it's a good reminder. It's like over time, as you learn to meet these parts of you with love and reassurance and whatever else that part needs, think of it like an animal. Like it's like as it starts to get and starts to feel safe, it starts to relax. It starts to like, it doesn't need as much attention. It starts to, you'll find it doesn't come up as often because it's like you're learning. It's like, oh, okay, now this part's be like, oh, okay, I'm getting it. She's there for me. She keeps reassuring me. She's meeting me there. I'm not alone. Okay, cool. I can chill out. And now you can move forward with greater levels of ease. You can take action more readily because you don't have all this stuff like in between you and it. Okay. So can I get an amen? Amen. Wouldn't that be great? Like I'm not having, it's like a kid tugging on your skirt and you're just like, or like my cat keeps like this morning as I was getting ready, I'm like, oh my God, I can't pay attention to you. And he just kept coming up. And finally I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit for 5 minutes and hug my cat, but it's like, and once I did that, now he's like laying down, he's chill. He's like gotten everything he needs. He's been played with, there's food, he's been handled. Now he's like, okay, I don't have to keep going up to mom because she knows she's giving me what I need. So let me give you an example. I could probably spend an hour giving you examples of like how I've worked with this in my practice or how I've helped other people, but this one feels like a good example. So, and for those of you in the mastermind group that we're in together, you've already heard this, but so I realized every month. So again, I went through a phase where clients were just kind of showing up and it was all happening fairly easily. And then I hit a new part in my practice where that wasn't happening. I was like, shit, why is this not happening? Why is this? But I realized it was like, okay, you're at a new phase. So you need new tools and you need to set things up differently because it has changed. So let's adapt to what's happening. Let's rise into it rather than resist it. And in the mastermind that I'm in, we were talking a lot about like creating systems. And I was like, I literally spent all my decades before becoming a coach in operations, in building systems, in being the one that's like, oh, you want to create that? Here's how we have to set it up. Here's the training doc. Here's the number of volunteers we need. Here's the like, how do you X, Y, and Z? Like, here's the instruction manual. Like, I actually spent 10 years at the School of Womanly Arts, like creating all the systems. And so I was perplexed. I'm like, this is actually one of my one of my highest skills next to coach, in addition to coaching. Why am I not using it on my own behalf? So when I finally started to dialogue with the part of me, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, I found I really, and asking that part, like, why are you not here? Why are you not letting me use you? And what got really clear was when I was in when I was running the School of Womanly Arts from the back end, I was missing all the magic that was happening in the classrooms that everyone would talk about afterwards, that they'd be like, oh my gosh, did you remember, wasn't the runway, like all these magical things that would happen in the classroom, but it didn't feel magical to me because I had spent months architecting how it was going to happen. I even was the one that was like, oh, Regina, the facilitator, is going to have to pee at this time. So in the timeline, it was like, make sure somebody put up signs so no one else is using her bathroom. Make sure that the door's unlocked. Make sure, like, something as simple as that was architected by me. And I realized I didn't want that kind of architecture in my practice. I was like resisting any architecture in my practice because I feared that I would start to miss out on the pieces of coaching that I love, which is the transformation, which is the connection, which is the heartfelt and the magic that happens when I'm working with people. So I was able to start. I was like, okay, it made so much. All of a sudden, what seemed maddening and stupid became like that makes so much sense. That part of me doesn't want to miss out on the magic. So I started to work with it and really help it understand that, like, we can create it our own way. We can set it up so that there's enough structure that we're experiencing more peace and ease in between enrollments and whatnot, so that we had a place to like we understood where to pour our energy, but also make sure it's not so complex that we're disconnected from the magic. And so as I started to work with that part, the resistance started to fall away and ideas started to come in. So that's what I'm talking about. That part of me had a really freaking good reason for making me resistant, even though on the surface it didn't make sense. And I think one of the beautiful things that I did learn at the University of Santa Monica was that these parts that the conditioned parts of us always come from a loving place. There's not some inner saboteur trying to like block you from your good and make you feel terrible and like this nefarious, like, I just don't buy into that. It's like this part has a belief that it thinks it's protecting you from something. So our job as the adults that we are here and now is to work with, like, to understand and get in compassion and curiosity with these parts so that we can be liberated. Does that all make sense? Everybody's good so far? Okay, great. So we're going to bring it back to you and we're going to do a little journal exercise. Okay, so does everybody have paper, pen, or computer, whatever? It's fine. So go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. And I'm going to guide you through a little process. And then at the end, you're going to journal a little bit about it. Okay. So I want you to connect with that part that's currently being challenged by taking the action you say you want in your practice. That same part that you just shared about on in the chat. Okay. And maybe again, it's the part of you who's afraid of being visible, part of you that's worried about being rejected, part of you that thinks you're not far along enough in your own process to be of any help. Maybe it's a part of you who grew up with a lot of uncertainty and gets triggered when you don't see where the money's going to come from. Maybe there's a part of you who believes that business people are cutthroat or aggressive, and therefore you don't see how you could be successful in this practice. Anything and everything. That part is totally normal. And I want you to picture that part of you that's believing those thoughts sitting across from you. And I want you to, like, to the best of your ability, if you can't quite get an image, that's okay, but just get a sense. But picture them in as much detail as you can. How old are they? Maybe you can tell, like, approximate age range. What are they wearing? Like, are they, I don't know, maybe they're in their perfect Sunday school outfit that, I don't know, or maybe they're like totally messy and disheveled. Maybe they're all whatever, you know what to look for. Just like, what are they wearing? How are they sitting and standing? They slumped over, they kind of sitting with their back to you. If you can see them, are they smiling, frowning, scowling? Maybe they got their arms crossed. Maybe they're skipping around the room. I don't know. But I want you to take a moment to just sit with that for a while. And if you can sense them, take a moment to write down what you're noticing in your journal. What is this part? Kind of like what you just saw. Write it down. And if you got more of a feeling than a visual, that's okay too. Write it down. Like, I feel like they're younger than me, they feel insecure. Like some people feel more than see. Either way is fine. Okay. Does everybody kind of have a sense of the part of them? Did anybody have trouble getting a sense of that part? And if you did get a sense, would you be willing to do a demo with me? Or I could tell you what the demo is and then you can say yes. How about that? Okay. So, one of the ways that I've learned to work with these parts of myself, I learned it at the University of Santa Monica. It's based on this therapy technique called Gestalt therapy, and also kind of like a combo of, like, I don't know if any of you have studied like internal family systems and working with your parts. It's basically part work. But I like to do it in a way where I call it the two-chair process, where we kind of move back and forth in the chairs so that we can separate out the part of us that's resistant from who we authentically are. Because just a part of us, it's not who we are, it's a part of us that is looking to get a need met. And the part of us that's holding space is more of our authentic self, our adult self right now, the parts of us that have learned and grown and evolved since this part got created. But it's a really cool process of just starting to understand what this part might need. Who would like to? You're all going to have a chance to do it individually, but in this case, I will lead you through it. Does anybody want to do it with me? Anyone? Should we just end the call? We don't want to do it. I promise it's not scary. Nance, will you do it with me?
I guess I have to, since we need to do this process, right? Sure.
Have to. Would you be willing to?
Well, yes, I'm willing. I'm dealing with a little vertigo this morning, so I'm a
Oh,
little bit out there. It
okay.
just happened this morning when I got out of bed, so I'm trying to
Oh,
get myself. It kind of
okay.
comes and goes. It's another wonderful thing about aging
Oh,
that happens.
bless
So
you.
sure.
Yeah.
So because this is what's going to reflect what's going on with this part inside of me at the same time. So,
Yeah.
which is probably not an accident. So
Which is what?
probably not an accident anyway. So
Right.
that this is what
Totally.
I'm feeling. So
Totally. Okay. Well, thank you
um
for doing that. So I'm
sure.
going to guide you through. For everybody that's listening, just so you know, you will be getting a handout with all the instructions. You don't have to memorize this process. Just want you to kind of see how I guide Nancy through this. So you get a sense of, like, it really is like just talking to another human, but it's you. So it feels a little weird in the beginning. But as Nancy, who's worked with me individually, can tell, it's like, it's so powerful, isn't it? When you can really connect and see that it's not part of you. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
you, but it's part of you.
Yeah. It's I've always resisted this process because I think I'm not going to like what the truth really is. And then it usually just is, well, of course,
Yeah.
so.
Right. And that's so honest, because I think that is part, it's like, when we are resistant, we can also be resistant to like moving through it.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
yeah.
it's funny to spend 20 plus years trying to do personal growth and then you don't really want to know yourself, It's like,
Well, the one thing I know about you is you usually move into cooperation with it. So let's
I'm very,
go
very
there,
resistant.
shall we?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And just to check, Laura or Amy, did you want to try it first with me, or would you prefer to just watch me and Nancy do it first? Stacia, Jesus, I'm gonna get this. You've done similar work to this, so is it okay if I'm working with Nancy? You're cool with that? Yeah. Okay, cool. You're happy to watch. Thank you, Laura. Okay, cool. All right. So here we go. So Nancy, I want you to invite. So basically, the way we set it up is typically you can either have two chairs that are facing one another, or you can move back and forth, like you can turn in the chair and then turn this way. The movement, it sounds weird, but it's like the movement helps. It helps you recognize that you're like, it's a part of you, but it's not who you authentically are. And it helps you hold space for the part of you that has these thoughts and beliefs and feelings. Okay. It'll make a lot more sense when Nancy and I just do it. So, Nance, I know you're not going to move a lot, but make
Right.
the turning kind of
Because of physical stuff going on. Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
I
So,
mean, maybe that's what this vertigo is all about.
right. Like, let's set the intention. Yeah, that you have some relief from that for sure. So, want you to invite the part of you forward that was coming up in your journal so it can sit across from you. So, just like it might sound something like, I want to invite the part of me forward that loves coaching but doesn't want to deal with any of the business stuff.
That's perfect. I like to invite the part of me forward that loves and gets a lot of satisfaction from coaching and doesn't want to really deal with any part of the business at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. So you want to be looking at it. So no looking at me during this process. Turn
Right.
towards it and thank it for coming forward. Let it know you heard what it shared in the journaling and ask what it wants to share with you. And then I'll tell
Okay.
you the next thing.
So, yeah. So, thank you for being here. And thank you for somewhat being willing to keep showing up in whatever way you do to keep growing
Mm,
and challenging us to live this life fully.
mm.
It's and to have what we want to have out of life.
Yeah. So again, just to check, this is the part you're speaking to, the part that's resistant
Right.
or the part that's
Well, it's the part that's it's all of that. It's the part that's resistant and yeah, it's that part inside of me that wants all these things that I want, but just doesn't want to do anything to have them.
okay, got it. Yeah, okay, great.
It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I said to you the other day, I just want them to just ring my doorbell.
Yeah.
That's
Who
it.
else
Thank
wants
you.
them to just ring their doorbell? Me. Totally wish that was the way it was
Just
happening. Yeah.
freaking find me and knock on my door. That's what
Yeah.
it's the efforting. It's like
Yeah.
it's the part inside of me, this part inside of me over here that feels like this efforting. I appreciate that she's willing to say, I don't want to do any of this, but let's see what you got to say. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
So,
So
you
here's what we
know,
want to do. So ask it, like, what does it, because I also like the point of talking to it is hearing, we want to kind of move through. We know she doesn't want to effort.
right.
So you want to, from the authentic self, it's like you're inviting her to share with you why does the efforting piece feel like, don't answer it right now.
Yeah.
You want to
No,
ask,
I'm
yeah.
just taking it.
Okay, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like you want to ask it, what is it that feels so hard about the efforting? Because I too want this life. I want to live more free. So tell me what's so hard about the efforting, and then you're gonna move into the other chair.
Right. So I hear you and understand that you don't want to do basically anything and just want things to happen. But what is it that makes that feel so scary or so much work, or what is it, what is that all about?
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So now for everyone in the audience, she's going to move over. She's going to take a second or turn and take a second to kind of land in that part. The part she's going to speak as that part.
Yeah. You guys, like I just have to shift. I got a lot of back stuff going on, you guys. So
Yeah.
okay, so it feels so much and so uh, it just all feels like it's too hard. It's too hard. And I've had so many I've started over so many times, and it just feels like it's um it's asking too much of
Mm.
me to put myself out there again to try to build another business. Um, and after having had and lost and built and lost and again, it just feels like at this point in my life, I really, this part of me, um, would really just like to retire, and I can't do that. And I have this skill set that seems to be something that people need a lot of based on, what's happening now. One person, I have one client at the moment, and came to me um, very surprisingly, and it has now prompted me again. And I just feel like I don't really know if I really want to go in here and do this again. And yet I feel it's this conflict. It's like, yeah, this is great. I love this and love the client I have. And it's like, should I have more? Should I do this again? Um, it just seems like it's just so much work. And I'm tired of that. I'm just really tired
Yeah.
of
And oh, sorry. I,
building and rebuilding. And it's like, I don't even want to think about, like I said, it's like, I don't even want to think about how do I go about building this practice.
yeah. Yeah.
And so that's basically what I'm really feeling inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big conflict, big
Yeah.
conflict.
Yeah, of course. Okay, you did beautiful. And typically I
Yeah,
would let this go longer, but because we're doing,
right. I get it.
go
Yeah,
move,
yeah.
so turn back and face her. Now, everyone,
So,
the important piece here is that she's going to reflect what she's heard. She's not going to go into reassuring right now. She's not going to make up what she thinks she heard. This part wants to feel seen and heard. So Nance, reflect to her what you heard.
So yeah, so I understand, and I really hear, and I can feel. I hear that this is just seems overwhelming and too much work, and I really hear you,
Yeah.
and we don't have to figure it out right at this moment, but I really hear and understand how you're feeling.
Yeah. So
You
from that,
know,
oh, sorry.
no, that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. And again, everyone, I typically wouldn't interrupt, but since we're doing it as a demonstration, um, is there anything based on what she said that you could ask her that would help here? Like, what do you want to know? Like, is there anything that would help her? Or is there another question that's occurring to you that might help her feel better? It could even be, what do you need from me?
I don't know. Yeah, is there any way that I can support you right now, or I don't know. I'm not getting that. And it's like I think
Okay.
that this part here is just like I don't know. It's like um, it's not clear to me right now. I just at least feel like I've been heard more within
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
because it doesn't. What I'm realizing, and I'm stepping out of this right now, Don, is what I'm realizing. Um, just doing this, it doesn't have anything to do with my skills, or not, because I've had the same feeling
Yeah.
of, my life's not great. How can I be a coach? Um, but just doing this helped me realize that's not what the issue is. The issue is feeling tired
Yeah.
and overwhelmed, and starting again.
Yeah.
So I think with this side of me, this person, this part inside of me, I think that was just like an opening of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now where do we go from here?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I so acknowledge you for bringing that forward. And for everyone
Yeah,
watching, it's like, so if you ever hit a space like that, where that part feels like, okay, now that we can see it, Nancy might actually want to bring a different part of her forward.
right.
Like that part might need to know, like that part might be like, I don't have it in me, but maybe there's another part of me, the part of me that actually has opened businesses and has run, like maybe there's that part of you that want, like similar to my operation stuff, that would be like, let me at it. I don't
Yeah,
know. Or maybe you talk to the divine and say, how can I use my gifts and talents and not do it in a way that feels exhausting? And you can ask,
yeah,
there could be other parts of you that you ask questions of, because the gist, everyone, is that we all have access to the divine, to divine inspiration, to infinite potential, to the answers from the universe. Like we are part of the universe. We have access to that. We have access to the parts of us. We often tend to just look at the part of us that's having a hard time. But I do plenty of dialogues with spirit, angels, my inner CEO. I've had a dialogue with the part of me that's like, my friend Sarah calls it she's like, you want Donna Monty, the operations badass, acting in your business. So go have a dialogue with that part of you, because she's not tired. She knows what the fuck to do, and she's not confused. She knows how to do this already. So that's the beauty of this tool, is like that part might be done, Nance, that you were just saying, but now you could be like, who's the part of me that knows, that is so spiritually aligned, that wants to be free to use my gifts and talents, but doesn't want to do a ton of efforting. Let's talk about some ways that we can play that way versus then um, sitting in the idea that I'm just too tired to do it and therefore I'm not going to do it. And then I'm going to resist, that I'm going to be upset that I'm not doing it. It gets the conversation going.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah,
make
and it reminds me, and it is reminding me of when I started my recruiting business, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and I did it for 10 years. And so I'm just in a much different place in life right now. Having had a lot of, like a lot of people, as you go through your life, you just have all these things thrown at you, and life just doesn't look like what you think it's going to look like a lot of times. And like learning how to have fun with it, with life and everything again.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't realize that the tired part of it was what was, a big factor
Yeah.
of where I'm sitting right now. So that was a good thing to take a look at. So
Yeah. Okay, so just for the sake of this demonstration, we're not going to keep talking to her, but the way you would end this, y'all, is Nancy's going to thank that part after she stops coughing. Sorry. But you want to just take a moment to thank that part for coming forward and maybe give it some loving or something like, you know what? We are going to find a different way to do this. That doesn't require us to be exhausted,
yeah,
spent, frustrated, and we're also not going to stay stuck. We want to keep
yeah,
moving
yeah,
forward. So you want to thank that part in whatever way feels
yeah.
meaningful.
So just yeah, I do hear what you're saying, and I didn't know that that was anything of what was going on inside. So I'm glad you brought that forward. I'm glad you brought that up, and we'll just continue talking and think about other ways that we can approach a new business that are going to be fun, not going to feel tired. We'll just work through that together, come up with a better way. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. Good job, Nancy. Everyone, round of applause for Nancy
yay,
for being brave, for taking my
yay.
invitation. I really appreciate you coming forward. And as always, like Nancy just shared, it could be an ongoing dialogue with the part of you. And I find that when something like that is up, the more we can stay in contact with that part for a while, kind of like my cat Sam starts to calm down, starts to like get regulated, starts to feel more secure, more safe, more held. Uh, and it starts to lose it doesn't come forward as often, and you can get out of it way quicker, which then moves you into action more in your practice. So I'd love to hear, does anybody want to share? Annette, I know you came in a little bit late. Hi. So I won't go through all the instructions again, but basically what we were doing is what we call a 2-chair process. Does anybody want to share what they took away from that, what they saw, what was interesting, or questions that you have, especially if you haven't done this process before? Let me know what you saw or what you liked or what you were intrigued by.
I'll say something. I was gonna say that I really I thought that was really a cool what would you call it? Like
I call it a 2-chair process, but a dialogue, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I was kind of going through it internally myself and just like this tug and pull of like, like these insecurities and things that I feel like hold me back. And kind of trying to figure out the root of that and like figuring out things like, okay, like where is this coming from? Why do I tell myself these things? And kind of a lot of it, I think, stems from childhood and going through school and kids, not always being kind and that sort of thing. And like trying to find the part of me that's like has done things and has pushed through and is like, I'm not going to let people tell me this or whatever it is. Like I remember in high school, kids were not very nice. And like when I had graduated, like, I hadn't been doing super well in high school. And so, I didn't even apply to college. And I, went to community college and ended up working super hard getting into UCLA, graduated with honors and that sort of thing. And so like just to kind of see myself like push through and just know like, hey, you know what, like I can do it. And like kind of like honing into that part of me that's like, like I'm going to push through. I know how to do this. Like there are aspects and parts of me that's very confident, even though
Yeah.
there are parts that aren't confident. And so just kind of like figuring out like, okay, I've done it before and like, kind of pushing through in that sense and knowing that like, okay, yeah, sure, I have anxieties, but I also, will continue to do it. And I do, I can push through. So I
Yeah.
cool. I really, yeah, I thought that was amazing. Super, super.
That's awesome, Amy. Yeah, and we're gonna do a practice where you can be with yourself because the piece I would add in, so yes, you have a piece that's like seeing your confidence, seeing your capabilities, seeing your resilience, seeing what you're capable of. And I think a lot of what I work with my clients too is also meeting the part of us that wasn't treated very well and doesn't feel secure, like meeting that part with a lot of loving. Just like, and she might be like, people are so mean to me. And you're like, yeah, that really sucks. Like, that's hard. And tell me more. Like, what did you need back then that you didn't get? And she might be like, I needed someone to tell me it's normal, like that we all feel insecure, or like, I don't know what she's going to say to you, but you don't have to figure it out. It becomes a process of the part tells you. Just like how Nancy was kind of surprised, like, oh, I didn't realize that really she's just that part of her is exhausted. That part of you that feels insecure or doesn't feel, it's like meeting her and having her say to you, God, and you're going to get to do it in a minute, like starting to ask her questions. So what is it? Like, so what gets triggered when you think about going out there? She's like, she's going to tell you. You don't even have to figure it out. That part's going to be like, she knows what's up. And then you're going to be like, right. Cause I know for me, when I used to be like, again, I wasn't, I just was taking care of everyone else. So I wasn't paying attention to what I needed. So learning to meet yourself, not just the confident part of you, which is awesome. And I think that is a great part of like remembering, oh, there is a part of me that knows how to get stuff done, but also that part being like, and I love you too, and I'm sorry you felt that way, and there's, and like, you've got information for me, tell me more so I can give you what you need and bring you up to date with what we're capable of. Does that make sense? Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. That's awesome. Yeah. All right, anyone else want to share a takeaway or something that they saw? Laura, how was that for you? Do you mind if I call on you?
No, I'm actually having a quiet moment here, but it's been very noisy here, which is part of why I've been reluctant to talk. I'm on a new pet sit. I'm getting used to new pets. They're freaking out a little bit. So I think the part that I most impressed me was the part about Nancy hearing something she didn't know. Especially because I assume a lot of us in this room have done a lot of self-growth and personal growth, and we think we know ourselves really well. So that's part of what impressed me the most about the process.
Yeah. And I really love that you pointed that out because that is a thing. We all go like, well, I know, it's probably just this and da da da. And the willingness to go, I'm not going to try to figure it out or put words in its mouth. I'm actually going to ask it what's going on. And it's really surprising, especially when you do the moving back and forth, that it activates, I don't know, it like lets you embody and really tune into what's going on. So thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. Annette, I know you kind of came in at the end. Anything you don't have to comment, but anything?
Well, first, let me just say, I'm so sorry I'm late. I thought that
Oh,
it
don't worry.
started at 2 o'clock and I looked, I was like, oh my God, it started at 12.
It's okay. You're here.
So sorry. And Fridays are my beach days.
Oh my.
So I just kind of sat down. And so, I already, like, I chimed in, and when Nancy was talking and then you coaching her around, finding that part of ourselves that is maybe the extrovert, because I'm an introvert, because I'm not always an introvert,
Right.
and tapping into that when I need to get certain things done that I'm just like, oh God, I'll be embarrassed. Because I'm putting myself out there. That really resonated with me, to really, like, what they say, Donna, at times, it's like, it's the quality of the questions that will
Mm,
get the answers. And I
right.
never even thought about giving myself the quality of the question to ask that part of me that knows, hey, I'm having a little trouble here.
Yeah.
That is fit, what? I'm in
Yeah.
I'm in the room 2 seconds, and like, so thank you.
Yeah. No, that's so awesome. I love how that piece that you caught, right? It's like we all can get so stuck in the pattern, which is why, again, the moving back and forth in the chair can be so valuable, because you're like, you can access all sorts of different parts of me that knows. And sometimes it feels a little like a board meeting. I'm like, start talking to that one, and then someone else has an opinion, and then like over here. And so there will be times where I'm like, okay, wait, that part now needs to be heard. And that's okay. But what's
Hmm.
cool about it is that it moves us into inner cooperation.
Hmm.
It starts to move the needle, and we then have access to more of ourselves to take action. So I love that you caught that.
Hmm.
I'm so glad you're here. That's awesome.
Me too. I'm glad I'm here too.
Yeah, because all of you have people in your practices too, that it's like not only in our own coaching, in our own building of a practice, but then we have people that are like maybe stuck in a pattern, and like, despite other tools in your toolbox, they're not moving the needle. And we all know that, right? Sometimes someone needs something somatic instead of words. Sometimes people need, and so in this case, it's like really helping them understand that resistance and fear don't have to be the cock blocker. They don't have to be like, there's ways around that. And that this is a way in that's very gentle, very reassuring, very loving, and very freeing. It like moves the energy instead of just, and I think the piece that I want to just, before we move into it, everybody trying it for themselves, is like, and I lost my train of thought. It was like, I don't know. I totally forgot. Perimenopause. You're welcome. I'm sure it was going to be profound, and I'll say it later. But I do. Oh, yes. Stacia. Would love to hear from you.
Don, I think what I've always appreciated about this process is there's wisdom in the part that's in resistance. It
Yes.
is protecting from something that has happened in the past or that it's afraid will happen again in the future. So it wants reassurance that, like there's a part who has this handled. There's a part that can handle this. But it's got wisdom there, because I think for me, sometimes when I'm listening to that small child voice that's in resistance to being out in the world and pushing and doing,
Yeah.
there's a part of me that is my modus operandi. I can do that 6 ways from Sunday with my eyes closed, and this small inner young part of me is like, hey, when do we play?
Right.
Or when
Yeah.
do we rest?
Right.
Or, those kind of things.
Yes. So much wisdom in them. And again, we're celebrated for just taking action and just do it and make it happen and do it anyway and blah blah blah. And it's like, may not be what's actually wanted or needed. Or yeah. So I love what you're saying there for
Yeah,
sure.
I think the temptation to go into override in what has previously worked and moving us forward in the world is so habituated, and that there's these other parts of us that have wisdom like, hey, there are other ways of doing and being.
Yes. Yeah. And I actually am a big believer that the draw we have to grow coaching practices, so that's a goal line. I always think goal line, soul line is one of the things we learned at USM. It's like goal line is like what's happening in physical world reality. I want to grow a business. I want to lose weight. I want to like run a marathon. I want to get pregnant. I don't know, like all those things. And then there's the soul line. It's like who it's calling us to be. What's the great, like, and the desire for something. I want to be a coach. I want to grow a practice. I want to be in charge of my own world. I want to create things, da da da. It's like, it's like our soul's playground for the evolution. It's not even about growing the coaching. I mean, it is about growing it's both and. It's both and. And so often we're just like looking at like, well, how many more people do I get on my calendar? And how many more, like all the things that growing a coaching practice, forces us to look at in physical world reality. It's like, who are we becoming? What do we need? And I think, I don't know about you guys, but growing up, I didn't have a lot of, I mean, I'm sure I had encouragement and reassurance, but I kept a lot of stuff to myself. I didn't really show that I was like struggling or like, I just kind of, and so learning to talk to these parts of myself in a way that's loving, encouraging, is not shaming me for, like, my older sister, Amy, she and I are on the human design level. I think I'm a projector and she's a generator. And so for anyone that follows human design, like, Amy is someone that can just go out and like fucking make shit happen. She's just like a doer. She can, and I'm not like that. I'm not built the same way. And so I used to totally judge myself for and shame myself for being someone who needs more rest and likes, and just and wants to do things in a different way. And so this process has helped me get on my own side and learn to like love myself up for who I am versus and love the parts of me that are in resistance and can't just jump into action. It's like I'm just not wired that way. I don't know. And I think there are people that are wired that way, and that's fine. So to me, this tool can be really supportive of healing that part of us that, if you're someone who gets consistently kind of slowed down and stuck in this, um, when it comes to resistance, or you're finding yourself like trying to create something and there's so much resistance and the pushing through is not happening, this is a really powerful way of relating to yourself and working with yourself, in addition to other tools that you have. Because again, I know there's a few of you on here who do a lot of somatic work too, and nervous system stuff, and that's so important as well. This is just part of the equation that I wanted to bring to light for everyone. So, oh my gosh, where has the time gone? So, I want us to take a 5-minute. I want you to everybody try this while we're on the call. Like, you don't have to do it perfectly. You kind of have the gist of what happens. You want to talk to the part of you that's in resistance to doing something. You're just asking it, tell me what you got. What can I, tell me what is going on, and then ask it questions if you need to. But I want you to try it while we're all on the phone together. We're going to do it. Typically, I'd give you a lot more time, but there's as much time as we have now. So we're going to do 5 minutes. Does everybody know what part you're working with? Everybody has an idea? Yes. Just any part that's in resistance right now, or maybe is dragging its feet on something, or is in fear about anything in your coaching practice. So I want to give you, and so, remember, you're going to like face that part of you. You're going to ask it to come forward and talk to you, and then turn around and then let it talk to you. It's pretty simple. Don't overthink it. It's 5 minutes of your life. You're going to get the instructions in a little bit. So, everybody willing? Yes? Okay, I'm setting the timer for 5 minutes. I'll see you. I'll give you a 1-minute warning. Have fun. And I'd encourage you to do it out loud, not in your head. If you'd rather write it, that's okay as well. Okay, take one more minute and then we're going to wrap it up. Okay, go ahead and bring that to completion. Come on back online. And I'd love to hear, anybody want to share how that went? Was it cool? Were you surprised? Was it weird? What do you think?
Shoot.
Well, since I didn't do the first part, Donna,
Yeah.
and you just gave me the instructions, I
Yeah.
just kind of went in. What I
Okay.
noticed is, which I thought was going to be two voices, like me asking a question, it actually is three voices. And there are probably more, but three voices came out.
Okay.
One to ask the question or set the scenario,
Yeah.
the other to ask the question and in whatever nonsense I've been resisting, and then the answer from that part of me that
Got
has the answer. So it's the three voices and like, whoa. So yeah.
it. Were you surprised by what you heard?
Um, I
Okay.
wasn't quite surprised, but it was like, stop asking me that. Saying you're
Oh,
you're
that part
in the
you
process.
yeah.
Right. See, my issue is like patience.
Mm,
And so it's like, just hold your horses. You're okay. But I have to hear that because then I make shit up what I'm not
right,
doing.
right,
So
right.
yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks
Hmm.
for diving right in. I love
Well,
that.
thank you. Thank you for the prompt.
Yeah, you're welcome. Who else? Oh, Stacia.
I can go. I mean, something surprising came up. I like this part reminded me I have been working since I was 12 years old. And I was like, oh, no wonder I'm exhausted and I don't want to do anything.
Mm, right.
Yeah. And oftentimes it wasn't just one job. I'd have like 2 or 3 jobs and I was juggling school and things like that too.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Right. And then you hear that and you're like, okay, I can have compassion for myself when I just want to rest for a little bit.
Yeah, like if one of my clients came to me and said, "Oh my God, I'm exhausted. I don't want to do shit with my life right now," but and they said, "I've been working since I was 12 years old," I'd be like, "Wow, can we just slow down and acknowledge that?"
Right. Right. Especially in a world that, you know, praises us for productivity and getting shit done. It's like rewiring ourselves and giving ourselves compassion for needing
Yeah,
a break.
and there is a part that runs in my head that's like, well, if you aren't productive, who are you?
Yeah. Right. And so your practice is really teaching you. It's like I have value whether I get shit done or not. I'm going to release that story. I'm going to work with that part of me. We're going to like start rewiring that whole thing. Beautiful. Oh, powerful. Anyone else? Thank you for sharing, Stacia. Amy.
Um, I'll say that I definitely feel like in this, that I definitely have like a hesitancy. Like I always feel like there's a lot of anxiety, but then there's also just like being hesitant and kind of like figuring out like, why am I so hesitant? Where does that come from? And kind of figuring out too, like I have this mentality of like wanting to run kind of when things get tough.
Yeah.
Not that I really have done that in my life. There's a lot of things like I haven't, but I don't know. There's just this feeling of like this like not trusting myself, or like not pursuing things long term, or this like tug and pull, like, okay, if this gets too hard, I can leave, I can run or whatever. And it's kind of just like figuring out why, like, where is that coming from and why? And like, in what other aspects of my life have I done that? Because I don't feel like I have, but what is this feeling coming from? And, and kind of just like honing in on it and like trying to heal that part, and like remind myself that it's okay. I'm not going to run. Like it's, I don't know, but I do think that there's like, I'm always kind of like on the edge, like, oh, I don't know, and kind of just like honing in on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Who else can relate? Like, hi. Yeah, exactly. I love that, Amy. And I think I really encourage you. It's like any part of you that keeps wanting to figure it out in this process, you can drop figuring it out. You can just acknowledge, oh, there's a part. I want to know the part of me that wants to run. So you're like, why do you want to run? And then she's like, because it's fucking scary. I don't I don't like feeling this way, or people are going to judge me and then I'm going to feel da da da. And then you're like, right. That makes sense then that you'd want to run when you feel that way. And as you start, so you don't have to figure anything out. It's sort of just like that part being like, yeah, you're doing things that are scary. So of course there's a part of you that wants to run, but I got you. You can want to run. You can even run sometimes. We love you. It's okay. Like, and it's learning that like ability to like, I don't actually have to figure it out right now. I can just be with the part and see what starts to transform simply by meeting it and hearing it. I would just encourage you to practice that. Like, yeah, this sucks. I don't like feeling this way. The part of me that's like, I want to jump out of my skin by you asking me to do something. Like, for me, I've had that where I'm like, I'd rather jump out of my skin than like do that. And that me meeting that part and being like, yeah, it feels scary. Of course you feel that way. It's so normal. And if I thought those thoughts that you were thinking, I'd want to run too. See, I think we've been taught we got to like figure it out and then make it go away. And ultimately, talking to this part is so that it will get what it needs and not keep running me and stopping me. But it's not because it's a problem. It's like starting to get really like feeling anxious is a totally natural response to like when I feel overwhelmed. Shutting down instead of like wanting to run instead of like sitting with the feelings is totally normal. That is what I learned to do because no one in my family talked about shit. If that's your case, I don't know. I know your family, but I don't know how you guys handled things. But it's like we want to keep getting on our own side and being like, yeah, of course you adapted this strategy because that's helped you get through all those times when we didn't know how else to handle it, but now we're growing and we can learn new things. And does that make sense? The distinction, how to be with it. And again, I'm going to give you an instruction sheet, so it'll make a little more sense when you read that. But thank you so much for being willing to share that. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, I should have made this class 2 hours. I want to keep talking. Anyone else want to share? We're going to go maybe like 2 minutes over. Is that okay with everyone? If you have to go, I totally understand. But anyone else want to share? Laura, how was that for you? Do you mind me asking?
I don't mind.
Okay.
It was surprising, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I sort of intellectualized what I thought was going to come up, and it wasn't the thing. So, but there's just a part of me that's really tired of being strong.
Anyone else? Yes, I so appreciate you sharing that. Right. And that gets to like learn that it's okay to not be strong all the time.
Yeah. I mean, my mom always tells everybody I'm the strongest person she knows, which I have all kinds of issues with that. But I didn't realize how much I had sort of internalized that and how tired I am of just being strong all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. What a powerful, like starting an ongoing dialogue with the part of you that thinks she has to be strong all the time. So she gets met and feels the relief of that could be really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice work. Nice
Thanks.
work. And light ahead to all you got going on over there. The divorce. Yeah. I hear you. All right, my loves. I just want to acknowledge all of you for today's session, for your willingness, your openness. I'm I'm, as I said at the very beginning, I'm in awe of anyone who's willing to commit their life or step into the arena of like, I want to coach, I want to build a practice. No matter where you are in that, whether you're just considering it, whether you've got one client or 20 clients or whatever, it's like, this skill is something that can really support you in being able to keep making steps forward, or taking a nap in Stacia's case, like, or taking a break or whatever. It's like, I want to support you in living more aligned, living more free, living more liberated. So if this tool has been helpful and you're like, hey, I want to learn more about this, not only for myself, but I'd like to incorporate it into my coaching. I do have a short mentoring program around that, it's like a skill training around this. And I'll put the details about that in the follow-up email. And I have like a special pricing for that for the next week. So that'll all be in the email. And then if you're someone who recognizes like, oh, this learning this skill set in my own life, in my practice could be, because I keep getting stopped and no matter what I've been trying, it's not really moving the needle enough. I also have a few spaces for 6-month coaching package, because sometimes things like this, these parts of us need time and repetition and being held in a container so that you can, and with guidance, to be worked through and get to the nuances. And if that's something you want to explore together, there'll be a link to book a time to talk to me more about what that might look like. So know that you have my full love and support. You have this recording that you can refer to. You're going to have a handout. And again, if there's any further way that I can support you with this, great. If there's not, and this has been enough, that's great with me too. So thank you all so much. Appreciate you being here. And if you know other people that could benefit from this, let me know. Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much, Donna. Bye, everybody.
Thank
Have a
you.
great weekend. Thank you so much.
You
This was
too.
wonderful.
Bye, honey.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.